Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Viva Café con Leche. The Gladiator Guru will be here shortly. She just had a little bit of a delay this morning, but we will get started with me, the Badass Buddha. Good morning, Kathy Reese, and welcome to Thursday at Viva Café con Leche, where we are continuing our month of acknowledge and acceptance and helping you become the badass, the warrior, the guru of your life. So, welcome, everyone. Don't forget to like, share, follow. I will get to share in a moment. I just can't do that and take care of business over here on my end at the same time. So, I will do that shortly and share as soon as Gladiator Guru gets on. But welcome. I am the Badass Buddha, Lori Monaco. And I am broadcasting from Southern Connecticut, Southern New England. It is about 31 degrees here. It is clear, well, a little cloudy, some sun out there. No snow though, and it's supposed to, I believe, get close to 50 today, which is crazy warm, unseasonably warm for this area. So it is what it is. I feel bad for all those individuals out there who use plowing as their income for the wintertime, but hopefully for them, we will get a nice juicy snowstorm who knows, anything goes. We've had snow all the way up into April. So I don't like when that happens, but I'm kind of in the headspace now. Okay. We're like in the middle of February. I'm good with no snow at this point in time, but February is funny. So we'll just see what happens. So welcome to the show. What I'm going to do is, while Gladiator Guru is coming, I'm actually going to jump in and we will get the set the intention and get that over with so that we could start the conversation when Gladiator Guru gets here, because this conversation is really, really powerful. The conversation today is, and let me get my banner here. I am aware that I am rare. Are you aware? Meaning, are you aware of how rare that you actually are? So that's going to be a very deep conversation. Again, last month we started off with the month of awareness, and then we moved on to the month of acknowledge and acceptance. So we are now stepping up a little bit more and actually acknowledging what we learned last month about ourselves and about our environment, and then accepting where we are at this point in time so that we can, in fact, move forward. All right. So why don't we do this? Let's go ahead and we'll go ahead and set the intention for the show. Good morning, Milagros. For those of you that are again just jumping on, Gladiator Guru will be here shortly. She just got a little delayed, so I'm going to go ahead and start. And this way, when she comes on, we could just get right into our conversation. So let's go ahead and set the intention, and I will do Gladiator Guru's part in that. So as always on Viva Café con Leche, we set our intention. Whether you set your intention now, or you set your intention after the show, or you set your intention later in the day, just know that an intention set will help you progress in your day. And you can always reset if the intention that you originally set is not going in the direction that it's supposed to go. Good morning, Tiffany. Good morning. Welcome. All right. So set your intention for today for whatever that may be. And once you set that intention, be grateful. Be grateful for who you are. Be grateful for what's going on in your life. There's always something to be grateful about, even if things are not going exactly as you had planned. But if you just take that moment and think about what you're grateful for, regardless of the situation currently, it actually resets your mood and it resets your energy. So create your intention and go with gratitude. All right. So let's do our mantra. Good morning, Chenille. Gladiator Guru will be here very shortly. So we'll get all this stuff out of the way that we normally do. And this way, when she comes on, we can start talking right away about, am I aware that I am rare, and are you aware? So here we go. Say that mantra loud and proud if you can. Ready? Here we go. I am a disruptor. I am unapologetically courageous. I am spiritually grounded. I am magically orgasmic. And I keep it real. Yay, there she is. We opted Gladiator Guru to get out all that other stuff so that when you came on, my beautiful sweet, we could just jump right into the conversation because today's conversation is going to be absolutely powerful. I am aware that I am rare. How are you, Gladiator Guru? Introduce yourself at least. Let everybody know who you are, where you are, and how you're doing this morning.
Good morning, Tiffany, Chanel, Milagro, Kathy. Good morning, badass. Hello, I am Margarita, your gladiator guru. Buenos dias, good morning, and this beautiful Thursday morning. It really is. So let's start. Go ahead. I am
Oh,
aware that I am rare.
I am aware that I am rare. You came up with this title. Gladiator Guru came up with all the titles for February and March so far. So you start this conversation. Good morning, Migdalia. You start this conversation.
Migdalia.
I am aware that I am rare. Hold on, I'll put that banner up. Are you aware? So it's a question of it's awareness and then acceptance and acknowledgement. So do you believe that you are rare? And what would it take to get acknowledge and accept this? So you start, Gladiator Guru, while
I
I say
think when I've written it in several of whatever it is, if I've read blogs or if I wrote it in my books, I've always used that because it's for somebody who stands up for what they believe in, even if they're standing alone. Being rare means you're outside the box when everyone else expects you to follow suit. Being rare means that you're not afraid to admit, yeah, everybody's on this red thing, but I prefer yellow today. Like being the opposite of what society deems is normal. If you decide that you're not going to, I don't know, wear what everyone's wearing. Like, well, what is it that they made a joke about? And I looked at it in that way. You know how everybody, let's say, is wearing Adidas, but you're gonna roll up in the Converse or you're gonna roll up in FUBUs and not be afraid that people are going to laugh at you because saying that they're so out of style or whatever. When you are rare, you speak your mind, you walk your truth, you dress in the shades that you prefer. You fix your hair how you like. You walk into any event, party, restaurant, movie theater by yourself. You're not intimidated by people's stares or their glares. Being rare means that you accept yourself 100%.
Hmm.
And you don't care who's going to ostracize you, who's going to laugh at you, who's going to tell you you're wrong. I think when you are not rare, that's when you put all those factors ahead of you. When you're rare means fuck it, I'm going to do it. It means that you're going to go on, and if your spouse gets mad, but in your heart it's something you want to do, everything else is done. That selflessness, selfishness, because they go together sometimes. So when you believe you're rare, like I'm loud. I don't know if anybody's aware of that.
No, oh my God, are you?
Maybe
Oh.
a tad bit. Um, and I don't realize I'm loud. So a lot of people assume that I have hearing difficulty, you know,
Oh
because
my God, that's
I'm
so
loud and my pitch is loud. And don't let me get excited or passionate about something because then it seems like we're having an argument. And um I know someone that's the same thing, and her husband and her kids always like were like mine, like my son, not too much Tiffany because Tiffany can be like me, but they would get embarrassed because
yeah.
we're loud. They would get embarrassed because my laugh, like I would fill a room with my laughter, and they would
I
get
love your laugh.
embarrassed. And then little did they know that then people will come up and say, "Oh my God, that was you! Your laughter is so contagious." So
Yeah.
it's like what one
Like
deems
a
this.
cackle.
So somebody can say this about you. It can be your lover, your children, your parents. Shut up! You're always screaming. But I was just having a conversation, mom. One of those things. And so
Oh,
then we climb or we create this great escape within, right? So now we won't dare do, say, or just be who we really are because we don't want people to get upset with us. We don't want people to not like us. When you can genuinely say, I am aware that I am rare and I don't give a fuck, that's you walking in your truth,
Oh,
speaking what you are, not worrying,
fabulous.
well, if I write it this way, how is the reader going to perceive it? And that's a conversation about as Buddha and I had the other day. And I think when you're reading something and then Lori reads something and someone else reads something, we're going to read it slightly different. It's going to be the same damn words jumping out at us. And it also depends how you read. You know, are you flowing with it? All I'm saying is we're going to start this conversation. Please share your experiences when you claim to be rare. When you go up to the rooftop and you say, I am aware that I am rare, what you're claiming back is your peace and it is your power. Because to be who you are unique as the fingertips. We spoke about this. To be rare is not to be wrong. To be rare is to not follow the masses. It's to be, I know everybody has seen the video of the kindergartens and they're supposed to be singing. Then you got that little girl there dancing, like going to the beat. That's who we should be at all times.
Oh my
You know, that is who we should be at all times. Be who you are. And if you lose some, yay. And if you gain some crazies like you, that's all the more of abundance. You know why? Because life should be lived with laughter, with dance, with music, and with truth. How could you go wrong with that recipe? You cannot go wrong because the truth will never lead you down the wrong path. The only thing being truthful, being aware that you are rare is going to cause in your life is to let go of all that excess baggage that was sucking the life out of your big toe. That's all you're going to lose. And honey, been there, done that. And sometimes it is refreshing.
You said something, two things that, well, everything was fabulous that you said. And I want to apologize, Lindia. I know my glasses on, so I put Lydia instead. So I corrected it and put Lindia. So good morning.
Lindia.
Pizza, good
Hello,
morning.
Lindia. Who brought you, Lindia?
Yeah, it's wonderful. So, okay, you said that your son would get embarrassed, you know, a little bit, and I've had that happen with my kids, especially my middle daughter, and my younger one's not so bad. The worst thing that can happen is that, and this is very interesting because when we're growing up, even when we're in our young, you know, like young adulthood, when we step up to be who we are, and then there's that always that asshole that comes around that says, "Oh, you got to stop." And your kids could be that asshole too. Like you like, "Oh God, you're embarrassing me. You got to stop doing that." Right. And then what ends up happening is, unless you are really, really like Gladiator Guru, where you're like, F you, I'm going to be who I am. It pushes you down and it makes you play small. You like, you just say, okay, then maybe this isn't good. You know, this isn't good. And I did that for years, like for years. And what happens is it carries over. So when somebody does that to you, then you end up doing that to other people. And
Mm-hmm.
so once I got out of my shit and decided to say, screw all of you, like, I don't care. Like, I don't care what I look like, how I sound, what's going on. This is who I am. And I have found that pretty much everybody is fine with it. The only people that weren't were the people that were closer to me. But my youngest kid, because she was raised differently than the rest of my other, you know, like my middle daughter, especially, she's more accepting of my goofiness and my silliness and my craziness. And what I love about her is that it's given her permission to be that way. So it reminds me of New Year's Eve. We were at our friend's house. It was families, like all families. We were there till like 1 a.m. And they were right about, I don't know, 11:15 before they dropped the ball. They started playing music, right? And I have never seen my daughter do this before. She was just dancing her ass off. Like she was just like
Mm-hmm.
dancing away. And I got to tell you, she's actually really good. Like but she's so dramatic. Like she's putting on a show. And I was just like, you go, girl. Like that is absolutely the only thing I said was like, honey,
You didn't
you look
record it?
so serious. I did record it. I said, you look so
Okay.
serious. I said, just have fun with it. Like, have fun. Like, really like
But
get
what
good.
if she
And so
was?
she was like serious, like she was focused.
Yeah.
And I said, try to, like I said, think about it. I said, watch this, like and then all of a sudden she was like, so she later, like a couple of days later, was dancing in front of me, and she's doing that, like she's like giving the face, and I was like, yes, I'm like that. And it
You
was just
had to. Let me tell you, when I
awesome.
dance salsa, I don't smile. I don't got time to be friends with nobody. When I dance salsa, I am my own world. I'm doing the tango, the flamenco, all in one. And don't you step in my way. And don't fuck up my groove. It's so serious to me. And so that's what, she's feeling everything. And remember, when you're smiling out, that's like to invite like people. When you're doing that, you're in your own trance. And I mean,
No,
like,
no, that's not what I meant. I meant not that I meant that she needs to smile. What I meant is I wanted to see in her face what she
you
was.
wanted to see
That's
her
true.
awareness. Yeah,
That's
you were
true.
imposing your lights and
That's
what?
true. I will take ownership of that.
Yeah,
But or at least
and,
I put it out there to her to this, she could decide if she wanted to do it that way,
but
right?
you
Because
messed up her groove.
I did, but I didn't mess up her groove. She was groovier. No, she was just this groove. And I understand what you're saying with that seriousness. What I've noticed sometimes with people is people are who they are, like and we have to just love them for who they are. And I just like perhaps you're right, like maybe me saying something threw her off. But if she decided for herself and said, "Nah, that's not going to work for me," that would have been fine. I would have dropped. I would have never said it again,
Mhm.
So I don't know. I just thought like either way really worked. But what I was trying to say was that she was just rocking it. Like she, to the point where I was like, honey, I think like this is really natural for you. And I would love for you to take like legit hip hop classes, like not this, you know, dance school where they do the recital. I'm talking like legit. So if anybody out there knows anybody in the air in the Bridgeport, Fairfield, Shelton Valley area that does true hip hop dancing, let me know because I want to get my daughter there. So anyway, I am aware that I am rare.
That's beautiful. You know what? But let me tell you, for those listening, Charlotte is a whole class act on her own.
Mhm.
This little girl, who I always thought was going to be 12 or 13, is not. That's her personality. And so maybe that's why I got a little defensive. Don't be interrupting, telling her what to do. She got it. She got it. This girl got it. When I tell you this girl got it, she got it. And that's beautiful, because when I see that in someone at any age, I admire that person. I give them respect. Like, I want to smile in their face because it makes me so happy to see someone walk in their truth, live in their truth, laugh in their truth. And so many people make it more difficult than what it is. I say, you want to be aware of your rareness. You want to say, I am aware that I am rare. Forget people, places, and things, and start loving yourself. When you start loving yourself, then you get to realize there's certain things you want to change. Like maybe you don't need the 3 bags of potato chip. They taste good once they touch your lips, but you really don't need them on your hips, right? So those little menial changes. But when you accept who you are, you don't give a shit who wants to say, well, maybe if you do this better. I didn't tell you to make my dress, boo-boo. I'm making it. And that's what happens. We invite too many people into our lives to direct and derail so that we
Well,
hold
true,
ourselves accountable.
true enough. But here's the deal, though. people can offer information. The thing is that you have to be really clear on who you are and who you
That's
want
what
to
I'm
be.
saying.
Yeah.
If you
And
are
then,
aware of who
yeah,
you are, nobody or
for sure.
nothing can affect your spirit, your personality. Of course, we all want to be here to help people. But if you walk in your truth, you will accept the gifts of others, which in form of advice, or you will deny. But
Well, I'll give you an example to what you just said, right? So I've always had long hair. I mean, there was a brief period I had short hair, but I look much better with long hair. I like it. I love my hair. Even though I'm going bald with bald spots, I am going to hold on to my hair until the very last bit, and then I will shave it all off. But so I went to my nephew's wedding in California back in October. And I hadn't seen his mom in years, in years. And his mom is, I think, about 65, something like that. And she looks good, like I got to tell you, like she's not a wrinkle on her face, right? But she has really dark hair, like your color hair. And she just let it go gray, right? So I noticed with her, it made her look really old, like it pulled down on her face. But who am I to say? Like that's your choice, whatever you do, right? We're getting ready to leave. She gives me a hug and she looks at me. Now, mind you, I haven't seen her in years. I have really not a relationship with her anymore because she's the one of the exes, one of his exes. So she says to me, she looks back and she goes, you know, if you cut that hair, drop 10 years off of you. I'm just saying, like, if you cut your hair, drop 10. And that is a hot button issue for me because people are always telling me to cut my hair.
why?
Because they do. They just do. Like, oh, you're a certain age, you shouldn't. I think my hair is fucking sexy. I love my hair. Anyway, I looked at her. I said, no way. I said, nope, I am not cutting this hair. And I almost thought of saying, maybe you should think about dyeing your hair back to black because you'll look 15 years younger. I'm just saying. But it didn't come to me like that quick. I was just, but I stood up. I was like, hell no, I'm not cutting my hair. I'm like, nope.
Yeah. Well, sometimes people will shock us with the shit they say. Like you would
Yes.
not have expected her to say that because you haven't seen her in so long, right? You would think that it would be somebody who is in your life or somebody who's close to you. But let me tell you something. And yeah, Kathy, I agree. Your hair is beautiful. It's flowy, it's long. Remember, but when you live on your path in your own lane, you avoid traffic, you avoid bumper to bumper. What is that? The bumper accidents. You avoid all of that. Slow drivers, fast drivers, because you're in your own lane. And people will say things that you're gonna be like, "What the hell?" I mean, it happens every day. No matter how strong we are, you're gonna look at somebody like, "Should I punch her or walk away?" Those are always two thoughts that you have. That I have anyway. So and people will say things. People will say things that, like Diana says, that will trigger us. And like you haven't seen her in years. You go to a wedding and you see them, and then people think they have the right to say things. And sometimes, you know what? People can say whatever they
Well,
want.
and that's the point. That's the point is when you are steadfast on who you are and really comfortable with that, like that would have definitely affected me years ago. Like that, I would have been, I would have felt the need to explain myself to her. Well, I really
Mm-hmm.
like my hair. I immediately cut her off. I was like, nope, not happening. I said, I love my hair. I said, I love my hair and I'm going to keep my hair as long as possible, like as long as I can, not mean the length. I mean, I'm going to keep it. So it was definitely a difference because I owned who I was. Like I owned my hair, and so I instantly cut her off. We're in the because this is how she's always been because I knew her. They started dating when I was like oh God, a long time, like 18, 17 years old, something like that. And so she was always that way. She would always say things to me, and it would always be very intimidating to me because she always had that. And I think that's what it was she felt like, hey, I've done that in the past, you know? And now it's like, I don't think so. And that's the beauty
Mm-hmm.
of acknowledging your rarity, your who you are, and acknowledging and accepting it, because nobody has the right to impose their beliefs on you unless you're open to, hey, maybe that's not a bad idea. Maybe I was thinking about it. Maybe I was thinking about cutting my hair, and then it sort of said, oh, look at that. She's thinking maybe she has a point. Only if I was open to that.
Well, yeah, and that's
Mhm.
Speedy. She wouldn't say that to anybody. She said it to me. Oh, what are we doing to your hair? So you have, but look at Linda. Linda, she says, I think sometimes people transfer their own insecurities onto those who are aware that they are rare. And if you aren't strong
Yes,
in your own truth, that transference can stop you in your tracks, put you back to the space of reevaluating your own truth. That is so true, Linda. Let me tell you,
absolutely.
that is the life coaching that we do. Because it is to get women. That's why we do this show, and we share different stories, because there's two sides to every coin. And while you're learning your truth, you will have to go back and reevaluate what you've allowed in the past, so that
Yes,
you could know forefront what you're not going to allow going forward. Because the good
for
thing
sure.
about life is that when you rise the next day, it's a whole clean slate to make the changes you need in your life. That are the changes that only you can make. It's not about being rude. It's not about cutting people off because you don't like something about them. It's about doing the inner work within yourself. It's not about cutting them off, cussing them out, doing that, because those are outside things. Okay? Any and every long lasting change is the change you make from within. Be that rare gem that's going to look in the mirror and say, no mas. I'm going to create boundaries. My grass is greener than any other person's grass, especially now that I'm going to be focused on maintaining it and nurturing it. That is your
Yes,
soul. When you walk out
good
into the
point.
world every day, I wrote a quote, and I was going to pick that one, but you can find it anywhere on my stuff. And it says, may your soul sing and your spirit dance. And I wrote that back in 2006 when I autographed my very first book, and it came out of nowhere. And I was like, hey, it's mine. What I'm saying is, every morning when you wake up and you give that gratitude that you have breath, which means there's nothing you cannot do for the next how many hours that you're up. Let your spirit, let your spirit dance with your soul. Play that melody within you that lights that firecracker up your ass and lets you awake to who you truly were born to be. Because then the boundaries would set in. And you're going to know who you are without being rude, without being mean or disrespectful, because we don't need to be those things. We need to honor everyone we come in contact with, especially what does namaste mean? I honor the soul within you as I honor the soul within myself. So that should be your point. It don't matter what status they're in, what's their last name, doesn't matter who they are, where they come from, where they're at the moment, making more money than you. Never allow anybody to intimidate you. You could have worked in the yard and you had to run to the store. And isn't that when we run into everybody, especially somebody who may be cute at the time?
Hell yeah.
Your hair's a mess. You go
Yes.
looking all jazzy and shit, and I don't see nobody. The minute you run out, you're like, fuck my life.
I
Can
know.
you turn this light on?
And then
So,
and then I also get flirted with when I look the worst. It's like guys are just attracted to that. I'm like, what the
or
heck
some
is
guys
wrong with
think
you?
that's when women are easy. Oh, look at her. I can get. And some guys told me that. And I'm like, why when I go to a club and I know how to dance salsa, nobody takes me out? And he's like, because they always look for the raggedy ones because they're easy targets. When people look raggedy, and then I'm like, because the badass Buddha's right. Have you ever run out the house looking like shit and somebody trying to hit on you? They're insecure people as well. Or sometimes people just like natural, raggedy looking women. So you can't pin it wrong, because sometimes that's when we look our best, is when we're in our natural state. Greña sticking up, running, like, oh my God, I have to get this, I have to get that. Then you look lost. So yeah, you look like a damsel in distress, I guess. But so badass Buddha was not wrong in saying that, because I think, yes, you may, Lindia. I think that that is so true. I think we have all experienced going somewhere, looking a certain kind of way, and getting the most attention. So being rare is just being you without any outside influence. It is looking back. Remember in my journal, understand her. I'm gonna put it everywhere. I'm so proud of this. Um, I write where a little understanding may be is that you are the historian of your yesterday. So archive them accordingly. Archive the events that, whether they were tragic or exciting, anything in your life, archive them. Don't erase them. Don't trash them. Don't pretend they didn't happen. You are the historian of everything that has happened to you up to today. So make sure that they're being archived correctly. So when you need to go back and check yourself on something, you're not funneling and experiencing all the ugliness. You're going right back to that. And you can do it. It happens. You are the professor of your today. So when you stand up in the front of that classroom, you're speaking your knowledge. Okay? So when you and then be the event planner of your tomorrow. Write your goals down. How do you see them? 1, 2, 3. I want to do this first and then this, and I might have to reach out to this person. So be the historian of your yesterday, be the professor of your today, and the event planner of your tomorrow. When those are your friends, because that is you. And then keep on being who you are, because people are watching and you're influencing people and you're empowering people to walk in their truth, even though they might have had 6 friends and 5 of them don't want to deal with you no more, because the change is coming in. The change is too overwhelming for anyone else. But remember, we grow on God's time, not our time. So what we would have thought we were 2 years ago, today we're like all the way over there. That's where people self-sabotage. Trust your process. Trust that, yes, I am aware that I am rare, and I have a purpose in this life, and I don't make the plans, God does. So here we go. Growing up and getting those old school types of advice or even insults that are supposedly meant to help you, and doing that may be the most difficult. Those who are supposed to love you unconditional. You're talking about your parents, the siblings. See, what happens is trauma comes into those, because when I think back, and all the years of resentment I've held towards my parents, I've come to realize that they were the best teachers in that chaos. And yeah, their good intentions. What we have today is we just have the world at our fingertips. We have self-help books, we have podcasts, we have shows like this, we have Pinterest with all the quotes from Rumi to Carl Jung. We have all of it. Khalil Gibran pops up. I see it sometimes on my feed, and I love it because him and Rumi are one of my favorite philosophers of all times past. And I think about my parents. And I think about who was there to teach them in this new generation. And they didn't really have anybody. They just had the times of what was happening. So what you have to do is you have to, again, be the historian of your past, Lindia. And I had to go back and try to understand why my mom didn't protect me from her husband. I had to try to understand why I loved my dad. He was my first love. I loved him, even though he'd say he would come pick us up, and we would wait by the window all day, almost pee on ourselves, my sister and I, just because we figured if we left that window still and he came by and didn't see us there, he would keep going. And it was torture. And that led to us having mistrust in men. And although we loved our papi, but he let us down so much. So that means all men were going to do it. And unconditional love is what we love ourselves. Because let me tell you, as a parent, we say, oh, I'm going to love my kids unconditional. And we do. When they're born, all they do is cry, poop, and eat, right? In any order. And we love them. They don't let us sleep, and we're tired and we want to cry. But when they finally do fall asleep, we wake them up just to make sure that they're alive. And it's just a chaotic, just routine that we have, and we're tired. And we wish somebody would come take them for a couple hours so we could sleep, and then we go and we get them back because we love them unconditional. And then they get to walking and talking, and we're like, don't do that. If you don't eat this, you can't go out and play. If you don't do this, you can't do this. And then we start putting condition on them as early as 1.5 to 2 years. So what truly is unconditional love? Unconditional love is accepting who you are, where you are right now, forgiving yourself for what you've done in the past, and preparing yourself for a future of abundance with self-love, acceptance, joy. When you live in gratitude, and you add that up with grace, you constantly live in joy. So unconditional love, when we go back, I have a whole thing on forgiveness, Lindia. um and it starts with forgiving yourself for holding on to, well, they had good intentions and they ruined me here, or they set me up with this there. It's revisiting those particular moments that you felt that their good intentions really did you no good. And you got to acknowledge that it happened, accept that it wounded you for so many years. You got to feel it, and then you have to learn how to release and let it go, because it is not who you are. It's what happened to you at one point in your life. Yeah, there were people we trusted, but whomever they could have been. But the bottom line is that you are where you are today. They're not around you, and they cannot influence you in any way, shape, or form right now. So go back and write it down. See what it was that it's still, what's that word I want to use, badass? That still has an effect on you. I personally don't like the word trigger, but that has an effect on you. And see if you can break it down, crush it, flush it, because those are things that podemos arrancar. It's that old band-aid that we put on so long ago. We can yank that bitch off. But first we got to recognize and acknowledge what it is. Go ahead, Laura. What do you think?
Are the individuals that you're referring to, are they living or did they pass? Because that the reason I'm asking is that sometimes when you're so basically, because I'm looking at the thing when somebody's undoing the damage of good intentions, so they whether they might have thought they were good intentions or they might have been sinister. If the person's living, both, okay. So or even if they're not, you can even write them a letter and tell them how you feel about it. That could also be very cathartic to say, I didn't appreciate this, to sort of help you let it go. Because sometimes what we really want to say, it makes no difference anymore. Like, let's say you're talking to the person that's still alive and you decide to bring it up and you say, I just need to let you know, I need to get something off my chest from years ago. They've forgotten about it. Or they don't even think of it in the terms that you're thinking about it because it was so long ago. There was no emotional connection for them. And they could brush it off and validate you, which would make it 10 times worse. Very rarely does somebody say, wow, I really appreciate you telling me that because I didn't know and I apologize. Like, very rarely do you get somebody that will do that. It's not saying you can't. So sometimes it helps to just write it out in a letter and then, like, as if you sent it to them, and then burn it, like burn it. You could even shred it in this day and age, but you could burn it. And then, like Gladiator Guru said, is let it go. Because and then from there, what did you learn from it? What bothered you? What can you do differently as a result? And how could you make somebody else's life different by being acutely aware or vigilant about what your experience was with those intentions?
I love that.
I think a lot of people, hey, Nina's on. Good morning, Nina. I think
Good morning, Nina.
a lot of people, especially parents, let's say parents, let's just call it what it is. Parents they do the best they can with the information they have at that point in time. And sometimes I really have, just like Gladiator Guru sometimes doesn't care for the word trigger. I have a love hate relationship with that statement, because sometimes I think that's just an excuse to say, well, they only knew what they knew, and that's the best they could do. But it is true, though. I may not like it, but it is true. That is the reality. And so when somebody puts, says something to you with good intentions, um, we don't know at that time if it really is meant as a good intention, or it's a stick it to you because they're jealous and envious and blah, blah, blah. They come from a scarcity mindset. So, but we can't judge that. All we have to do is say, it was done, it was said. Like my mom, it's funny. My mom, I had a lot of very interesting talents when I was younger. I mean, like really, really good. Like I was a really amazing artist when I was a kid. I was able to sketch things at an early age that even adults couldn't do. And I was also very good at music. Like we had an organ, one of those little plastic organs, and I would sit at it and I would play songs without knowing how to play it. Um, I was also very good at, like, very flexible, really good at like doing stunts and flips and all that stuff. But I never had a formal music lesson. I never had a formal art lesson. I never had a formal like acrobatics or gymnastic lesson. And I said to my mother years later, like when I was a teenager, I'm like, I was really good at all that stuff. And then what happened was I didn't do much with it. I didn't really grow with it. I didn't push myself, and people caught up, like I wasn't that like quote little prodigy anymore. Like people caught up with the talent because everybody got better and they aged. So I said to my mother, I'm like, how come you never like saw that and like decided, hey, you know what, she's really good, let me put her in art class, let me put her into this. Instead, she put my sister into acrobatics, which I thought was funny because my sister wasn't really into it like I was. And my mother said, I never wanted to push my kids to do anything because I didn't think that was right. Now, that was her answer. And I understand where she's coming from, but sometimes you need a little push, like sometimes you have to see beyond, or you have to, you're the parent, you have to say, but that was her thought. So instead of me blaming her and saying, oh, shoulda, coulda, woulda, she didn't do this, so I didn't do that, I also have to take that responsibility to say, you know what? I didn't push for it either. Like I didn't say, Mom, can we please, I think I asked her a few times with the acrobatics. I said, can I please take it? She would say things, you're too young, which it really was just that she couldn't afford it. But it was, instead of me just pushing forward and going through with it, I just didn't. So we could sit there and say, um, things could have been different had somebody said something different, been different. But the bottom line is, at that moment in time, that person was where they were, you were where you were, and you were at a point where you're receiving it. And some kids are just naturally, or young people are just naturally like, I'm gonna do it anyway. Like I don't care what
Exactly.
you have to say, I'm gonna do it anyway. And
That
that
was
was
me.
that was you, and that wasn't me. That wasn't me at
That
all.
was me because, and that's a beautiful story because I'm sure a lot of people can relate, and just change out your prodigy gifts at that time with what they were going through. But let me tell you something. Um, you're doing what you're doing now. And I'm so happy you ended it with that, because let me tell you something to the Lindias out there, to anyone that feels like what could it have been. I'm gonna tell you, everything that we are feeling, that we weren't supported, that we weren't appreciated, that maybe the feeling that I've had all my life from my mom was that we weren't loved. They're all past tense words. Because we have made it this far because we do matter. Because although we may walk with some insecurities of this or that, we might walk with trust issues of how others, like Lindia says something about helping others. Let me tell you what I learned in the last 2 years is to accept things, because I had a hard time. Like the first year we did Viva, The badass Buddha did this big thing, had contacted my family. They got me a cake. We did it on the show. I thought it was the most beautiful thing. I thought it was like, wow, this was amazing. But I didn't know how to act. I didn't know how to
What was this?
receive
Was
that.
for your birthday?
Yes, remember you had contacted Stephanie for a
Oh,
cake, and you had
oh
like
my
a
God, that's
pie.
right. That's right.
Because I've always been the giver, because I know what it is to be without. I know what it is not to have. I know what it is not to be encouraged. My mother, as her, never encouraged me. I started writing poetry at a very young age, and she never encouraged me. But that didn't stop me. Here I am, what, 7 books in? It doesn't stop.
Yeah.
What you have to remember is, or everything we talked about was their past tense. And my question to all of you beautiful women out there is, who the hell are you today? Let's start where we are today, not what happened to us yesterday, not especially not what might happen to us tomorrow. Talk to me about your today. What are your dreams, your wishes, your desires? Who are you going to tell to fuck off out of your life today? Because we have those people there too. And if you're worried about who's going to get offended, who's going to be wounded, who might not like that, fuck them.
Yeah.
Because you are your priority. And a lot of the times we become stuck. We become with the feelings of less than, or we become envious of others and jealousy. And that's the ugliest thing I see in people. Why are you envious of me? Why are you jealous of me? Be who the fuck you're supposed to be, and you won't have to be in my lane. But there's people who have small minds, and instead of doing better for them, they question who they are and they envy who knows who they are. So you got to be leery of people like that. We don't need that negative energy. Everything is energy, mi gente. Everything is spirit. We are living in the most tumultuous spiritual warfare era of any generation, besides the first. But guess what happens? Tighten up. Who are you? Who are you? You have to ask yourself, who am I? And I think I have something over here.
I want to say good morning to my friend Priscilla that came on. Good morning,
Hola,
Priscilla.
Milagros.
And look at Milagros. I'm Milagros. Like it or not, I'm everything I want.
Amen.
Badass. That is why she was also in the Badass Story, because she was in her Badass Story Volume 2, because she really is. She walks the walk. She talks the talk. She's absolutely fabulous. And you know, own yourself today. Acknowledge and accept the who you are today. Even
you only
the
have
broken
one you.
pieces. Even the broken pieces.
You might have a shit ton of memories, good and bad, that happened. But there's only one of you. I am the only Margarita de Margarita you're ever gonna meet. Okay? And when I say, ask yourself, who am I? So that then you can say, I am, with confidence. Now I'm going to read you like some of the stuff when I wrote, who am I? Because I love to share who I am. Because I in order for me to truly say that I love God, my creator, Yahweh, I have to love who I am, because he made me. He makes no mistakes. And when we come into that full acknowledgement, and yes, I'm a heathen. For those who say, wasn't she just cussing? Don't judge me. Use discernment. It will get you far, far, far along. And, you know, in order to say, I love God, I believe in God, but I don't believe in me, when God is not everywhere, he is in everything. He lives and resides within. So you must love yourself if you're saying you love him. So when I meet people, this is what I say. Follow along. It says, allow me to introduce myself. I am Margarita de Margarita, a feisty spitfire gypsy spirit who has fallen in love with everything I am. I am temperamental, assertive, funny, silly, and always late, according to your clock. I am magically orgasmic, a goddess in awe of myself. And yes, I am whole. And you know what? The other day, somebody says, have you gained weight? I said, I sure did. I gained so much confidence and self-love and self-acceptance that, girl, I'm wearing it well. They didn't know what to say.
Oh God, that's
But you
mine
know
too.
what the enemy comes to me to wound me, I will empower you. So I used to be that survival father panic chick. But it's been a couple years now where I'm using discernment. Where you know what? I don't know your story. I don't know how wounded you are. Just there's a limit. So when you come, I'm gonna let you be who you are until you cross over into my boundaries, and then I'm gonna rip you a new one. Because you know what? To protect my borders, my boundaries have to be high. My moral compass must be set. Because if I don't give myself respect, how am I going to expect you to honor and respect me? So these are my rules, blah, blah, blah. And they're simple. Treat me with kindness. If you're confused about something, ask me. Don't lie to me. Because if you lie to me, that means you're telling yourself a whole bunch of motherfucking lies. And I'm really not into that mixture of shit. So you must know who you are. You must own who you are. We're talking. I had to write my personal thing, and we're talking about something right now. I am aware that I am rare. In Japan, when something breaks, they don't throw it away. They kintsugi it. So they'll take the broken pieces and add gold in it and mend it back together. So now, where this cup was plain, now it has a crack, but it's filled with gold. So it's more precious than what it used to be. And that is who we are as women. We're more valuable in our today. We're more precious with all the wounds and the scars. You have to know, yeah, I'm wounded. I have scars, whether they're your what are they called? The stretch marks from bringing life into this world. Don't forget. Remember how powerful you are as a woman, that you are the portal of this universe. You
Yeah,
have
that's
kids coming
true.
through your portal. Who else can do that but us?
Listen, if a man ever complains of your stretch marks, look at his stretch marks from just being fat and say, at least mine worked. Like mine served a purpose. Yours were just you couldn't stay away from that buffet for all those times.
So value who you are. And for those who can't accept who you have become, then that is God telling you you don't need them in your life.
Yeah.
Just because you know them, just because you share a DNA with them, does not mean they must be in your immediate life. Every Christmas, send them a Christmas card. I'm sure we're going to see them at funerals because that's where we all meet up now. But what I'm saying is, when you learn to love, acknowledge, accept, feel, and release everything that has patched you up throughout the years, you become whole. Why?
Yes.
Because you accept who you are. Because everything that happened to you that you're thinking today was negative, that they did you wrong, that they drove you down the wrong path, those were our life lessons. Because that means that you're here today because you need to birth forth brilliance into this world because only you went through what you went through. See, I have a lot to share. I have a lot to share, and I share it because I'm a storyteller, and I don't care who looks at me. In my first compilation with the badass Buddha and her badass story, I wrote about an abortion I had when I was raped. And I don't care who looks at an abortion only as murder without thinking about I was raped, because that's my story. And I had to live with that. And I asked God for forgiveness. But it's a story that many need to hear because a lot of women still live in guilt and you shouldn't. So, what I'm saying is, we all have a story to tell. Some might be darker than others, some might be bloodier than others, but you made it till today while many others didn't. So, that means you have a purpose greater than the next person because you have a story to tell. So do not live in shame. Do not live in guilt. Hold your head up high. You are here today. And if you're a mother, you gave life to somebody, you must revisit. And Tuesday's show was excellent for this conversation. Organize to eliminate. So if you didn't remember everything, or you just remember the sting of whatever happened, go back into the archives of your history book called your life. Stop organizing everything because some shit don't belong there no more. Throw it, burn it. trash it, shred it, and forgive yourself for holding on to it. Because that's the most that's the key that you possess in your life. See, I wear it, I'm still wearing it. I wear it every day. My key that goes along with my journal because it's reminding me. Because see, no matter where you're at on the totem pole, you still have issues. You still have doubts. So
You done?
the badass could tell you stories about that.
I just want to acknowledge something that Lindia wrote. Like, Lindia, this is actually what I talk about. This,
Yeah, that's what I was saying. That
I
you
teach this stuff all the time on toxicity and narcissistic relationships. I'm going to tell you something with regards to this. Good for you, first of all. But the thing is, with your nephews, depending on their age, you could always send them messages. You could always connect with them in one way, shape, or form. If not now, at some point when they're a little bit older, whether it's mailing them something, and don't talk any or speak anything about the other people. You just say what you feel about them. I love you. I'm here if you ever want to connect with me. I'm distancing whatever you want to say without saying a lot, and just say, know that you're in my heart. Because I have that same situation where I speak to my nieces and nephews, but not my brother. And they're older, which is helpful, because if they were younger, I wouldn't have had access. But for many years, I didn't have access to them, because I didn't want to deal with him. So I did, and they were at that time all together. Like, he was living with them. Like, so I kept my distance, and I owned that to my niece, especially the one that I'm closest to. In recent years, I said, I need to apologize, because I wasn't a part of your life for many years when you were younger. And this is the reason. And while it may not be the best excuse, it is, that it's just what I'm saying. I mean, and I can't go back in time and fix it, but I'm here now. And she and I are fabulous. Like, we have such a wonderful relationship. And I'm very, very grateful that we have such a great relationship now. So you did the right thing, because this is about you, and you're saving your spirit. You figured out who you were, and what was okay and what wasn't okay. And with regards to everything, the fabulousness, that everything that Gladiator Guru said over and over again: acknowledge, accept, acknowledge, accept, all of that stuff about you, good and bad. So it doesn't matter if you became aware last month and that, oh my God, I suck. Like, my life sucks. This is okay. Right now, it's just a story that's partially your mind, because you don't suck, but partially it's the present moment. So acknowledge it and accept it. And then the beauty is, you get to do something about it. That's the beauty, is when you accept it and say, okay, this is who I am. Ugh, I want to vomit. Like, I don't like my life. I don't like what's going on. But you are strong and courageous enough to accept and acknowledge it. So right there, you have got to pat yourself on the back, or do something wonderful for yourself, because you had the courage to acknowledge and accept it. Then the next point is, next month is being accountable to it. And then the next quarter is, what am I going to do about it? Like, what am I? And you could start now. It's not like we're telling you to wait. It's just that we're building you up, because this is what happens. And we know this as coaches. People learn things, but they sometimes jump a little too quickly into trying to fix it, and then it doesn't stick. It's just like saying, I'm done with my weight. I can't stand my weight anymore. I'm going to just go into this diet. I'm going to do this. And they're not as committed fully as they need to be successful in the long term. So what we're talking to you today about is, this is your life. This is your life. Right. And if you're not willing to fully commit to your life, then you're not ready. Like, I don't believe that people never, I guess some people don't. Some people just go their whole life and never really fully commit. But we're saying to you, we're giving you time to get ready for this. That's what we're doing. We're building you up. In case you didn't hear this, acknowledge and acceptance. Yes, Tuesday, today, next Tuesday, next Thursday, in your face, in your face, in your face. Boom, next month, accountability for 1 whole month, 4 weeks, and then boom, let's get busy.
Yes. And that was beautiful. Listen, in my journal, I have a healing affirmation. So for those who own it, and it says, I am aware that I indeed am rare. I give myself total permission to heal. I surrender my hold of past transgressions, of negative attachments, and of dark thoughts. I understand that I will be hurt and that pain is inevitable and that I and I alone will choose how to heal properly. I will choose to acknowledge, accept, feel, release, and celebrate my magically orgasmic being by battling beautifully in honor of my divine existence. I am forgiveness. I am joy. I am healing. I am living in my purpose. And then at the page following, there's several pages where step by step towards healing and acknowledgement, acceptance, feel, release, celebrate, and the last two step by step towards healing is one page is when you breathe in all your beauty, and the next page is when you breathe out everybody else's bullshit.
Woo!
That's where your weight is. Your weight is carrying everybody else's ideas and thoughts and convictions. It's not yours. So when we acknowledge and accept that it happened and allow ourselves to feel the sting of it one more time, then you release it, and then you're gonna feel like you lost 100 pounds because all these years you're carrying everybody else's ideas. And they
Holy crap. That was fantastic, Gladiator Guru. Look, everybody, Lindy is yes. Kathy's got a heart. Iritza's like, yes.
But what I'm saying is,
look, Lindy wrote, damn, I just got chills. Fuck yes.
Listen, you're the only responsibility in your life is you. Not your kids, not your husband, not your job. It's you. Because without you taking care of you, you cannot care, love, or admire anyone else in your life. So put yourself first. It is not selfish. It is an act of love towards you, towards your higher power that you believe in. And it's saying, I got this because I am. And then when you look at your kids, you know that there's no mountain you cannot move because you have built a power machine within yourself with self-love, with self-belief, with self-trust. You have cultivated the selves of who you are. When you cultivate that self-trust, then you know there's nothing that can stop you from doing the right things for the people whom you love in your life. But it all starts with you. If you know what, our parents fucked up. Our siblings probably fucked us up a little bit more. So are you going to keep blaming them while you continue to fuck yourself up?
Yeah.
No. If the answer is no, then tighten up, honey. Tighten up, buttercup, because you have one life to live. It is short, but the longest journey. And sometimes saying goodbye to all those unhealthy feelings we've carried all our lives is going to be sad, but it is necessary.
Yes.
So love yourself a little bit more today to say no mas. And let's start this path of acknowledging all the garbage we no longer need, including people, and start living lightly and living in our truth and walking around saying, yes, I'm real. What you looking at? If you don't know me, like Lindia don't know me, I wear diamonds up and down my face, all around my eyes, and I go to Walmart.
That's what I was just going to say, to go to Walmart. And I was just going to say that this is the challenge for you today, okay? What is your rarity? What makes you you? What makes you rare? So if you have to write it down, like really think about it and just like, damn, and write it down. And what we want you to do today is show it off today. Show it the hell off today. Just go out there. If it's wearing a certain outfit, who the hell cares? Put on a damn gown and go to Walmart or go pump some gas, you know? I was getting ready this morning, and this is one little piece that I absolutely love because remember we're 80s people, right? So I was a teen in the 80s, And everything was always, when we were growing up, oh, you have to do it this way, because if you don't do it this way, it's not right, you know. So I'm putting on eye makeup, and I've never been good at putting on makeup,
Me
never,
neither.
right? But I'm putting it on, right? And mind you, this is my daughter's makeup, my little daughter. Like, we got her like a little set for Christmas, right? And I'm putting it on, I'm going, fuck it, I don't care. Like, I'm gonna put it on whatever way I want today, because the beauty is that now anything does go. Like,
Mm-hmm.
really, like, I've seen people walking around with some really funky stuff, and I'm like, good. Like, whenever I see somebody like that. So I put my eye makeup on today. I'm going to go out. I'm going to run my errands. You do that today. Write down what it is that makes you rare, and then show it off like crazy today. And if you really want to get bold, take a picture of yourself showing it off in whatever way, shape, or form. Message us, and we'll post it on
Oh
our
my
page.
God, do it. I did a TikTok. Yeah, I own a TikTok. And it's pictures like when I was in Spain, when I got my second Compostela, when I'm in Portugal by the ocean that I walked the first half at, when I'm in Colombia by the pink sea, just my face. I'm in the water with my bathing suit top and my sarong, and all my chichos were showing, and I looked at it, I was like, oh, and then I looked at it again, and I was like, I've endured so much in my life. Of course, my body is still traumatized. And I posted it. And Miley Cyrus made the best freaking song ever. And I play it. I can buy myself flowers. I can write my name in the sand. I can talk to myself for hours, things you wouldn't understand. I can take myself dancing. I can hold my own hand. I can love me better than you ever can. If that song is not an empowering song for us women, I don't know what is. But I'm constantly singing it because it is like the rebuttal to Bruno Mars. I should have bought you flowers, and she's like, I can buy my own flowers. And so, you know what? Play that song today. Dance silly with it. I dance in the car with it, around the house. Like I said, I made a TikTok with it. It is my reminder. I'm single anyway. Chanel, you're gonna appreciate this. The other day, somebody said something, and my body's aching, and I said, I have no estrogen, no testosterone, and no semen. I mean, I'm like, oh, tight. And that's painful. But anywho, so I dance. Why? Because I am so
Oh,
excited that Miley Cyrus created a song for these teenagers coming up. I sent it to my granddaughter, and it's so empowering at all ages that from now they can learn. And from people our age, we can relearn that, you know what, go buy your own damn flowers. Why are you going to cry? You didn't bring me flowers. First of all, I don't like flowers, but we put our hearts and souls in people's hands, and then we complain. Well, you should have. The
yes,
expectations and the assumptions we
yes.
place on those around us
I
makes us feel
agree.
needy, and it makes, don't do that. So let your children hear that. Let them know that's right. I could hold my own hand. Look how great God is that He put them right here. Hold your own hand. Love yourself so that when somebody tries to come in and love you, you're gonna know exactly what type of love you will allow into your realm. Listen to the song. Like the badass Buddha said, put on an outfit, put diamonds on your face. I wear pearls or diamond. I don't give a shit, whatever I feel like at the moment. Do my hair. I have like 15 fedoras. I put a different fedora on. When I do something good, I tuck that feather into it. Let me tell you, live the life you want. And I'm not talking about expensive stuff. Do things that make you smile, that reason, season, lifetime. Live a season in your life right now of growing out of pain and resentment and lack of this and lack of that. And learn to look in the mirror and say, you're the badass bitch that I have seen today. Let's go do this. Love, believe, respect, and honor the woman you are today. It don't matter if you got gray hair, wrinkles. It doesn't matter. You're the only you that will ever exist. So make it matter.
Woo! And with that, damn, we want to say thank you for coming on today. Drop the mic. Acknowledge and acceptance, baby. This is it. Acknowledge and accept. I am aware that I am rare. Say that over and over and over again today. And acknowledge and acceptance month, man. This is where we are. Tuesday's show is Where is the Key to Unlock Your Genuity? And we're going to be talking about flaws and flowers on Thursday. So we're just going
Flaws
to.
and Flowers. Make sure you come on for that. I mean, they're all great shows. And I think if you want to learn to, when you clean out your junk drawer with the period peonies and the rip peonies, that this is the month to be on Viva. We're going to be having a gift. So we're counting how many
Yep.
people are inviting people, right? Oh, yes. I'm so happy you got to do it too.
Oh my God.
Yes, and
so
remember with Iris, that's a strong statement. I love the new me, and whoever doesn't like it, oh well. But make sure that you like the new you. That you're just not removing furniture and taking out this one and putting it in the back room and bringing the other one up and dusting it off. Make sure that the new you that you are creating are the one that you can live with for the rest of your life.
Yep.
That is also very key. So with that, thank you everybody. And Iris, good, explain it to your grandson because men need to learn how to respect women from a young age. And with that, this was so exciting.
This was exciting. And please do us a favor. If you really liked this show, watch it again and freaking share it. Because the energy today, especially from all of you, was so phenomenal. Like, especially that last bit, I felt like I just had like 2 shots of like caffeine, like coffee or whatever. So just thank you so much for everything. This is just wonderful. And Gladiator Guru, you were just rocking it today.
I am amazing. I tell people that all the time. Who are you? Amazing. And they look at me like I'm weird. But you know what? I am amazing. I love me. I love what I do. I get amazed at the things I create. And then I'm like, damn, that was me. And if I don't love me like that, if I'm not in honor of me like that, then why am I going to expect you to be? Remember, we are the gatekeepers of our lives. We hold the key to every change.
That is
Be
right.
that. Okay.
All right.
We gotta go.
Listen, from the badass Buddha, remember, be you, be real, and be extraordinary.
And from the Gladiator Guru, mi gente, remember to breathe in the beauty and breathe out the bullshit. Namaste.